All right. It's 7 o'clock, and in honor of everybody who has to work late today, I'm going to start. I call the May 21st, 2024 regular board meeting of Glencoe Park District to order. Please, Lisa, please call the roll and state the time.
That my action item sheet. Sorry, just one second. Sorry. It is 7:01. Commissioner Boren? Commissioner Kobe? Commissioner Snyder?
Here.
Commissioner Spector? President Spain.
Here.
Just a reminder to turn on your mics tonight because we are recording through the system, so you have to have the mics on in order to get you, so.
Okay, thank you. Consent agenda items A through D are routine. Does any commissioner want any item pulled from the consent agenda items? Hearing none, I entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda items as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Boren?
Yes.
Commissioner Kobe?
Yeah.
Commissioner Snyder?
Yes.
Commissioner Spector?
Yes.
President Spain.
Yes. Okay, I do not see any members of the public present this evening. Next on the agenda, Lisa will lead the mission statement review discussion.
Excellent. In front of you, you have a copy of options for consideration for our mission statement. The staff went through about 2-hour workshop with 110% James Spock and Farrell Bueller with about 40 staff broken up into different departments and went through these questions with the staff. Why do you do what you do? Who do you serve? What is it that you do? And how do you do what you do? And so they had really great conversations about this. And they took all the comments back and developed 3 options for some mission statements, including keeping the current mission statement we have. I also on this paper added one more based on commissioner comments after I sent it out yesterday. So there's a option 1A, which is the same statement, but just adding a sustainable practices piece on that. So it's the board like to discuss if they like any of these options, if they want to keep the mission statement the way it is. After talking in full transparency, after talking with the administration team, we really liked our current mission statements. It stood the test of time. It's really tells what we do. We believed it was interesting when we broke out into those 4 different groups. Everybody kept on bringing those pieces of that statement up when they were talking about what we do. So that's how we feel, but we'd like to throw it to the board to discuss.
Personally, sorry, I always try to speak first. I think that the option 1 speaks more to what we do. I think that yes, parks have a natural environment and we try to do sustainable practices, but I think the sustainable practices are just part of what we do and not really our mission. It's the way we do our mission.
Right. Yes, and sustainable practice is also listed in our vision statement, I believe. So we do capture, we have our mission, our vision and values. So it is captured in that one too, so you know.
Yeah, I agree. I think one of which is that last statement is how we do it, not what we do or you know, what we do is we have exceptional parks, we have exceptional facilities, exceptional programs. How we do it is through great staff, is through sustainable practices, is through an investment in our community. So I think it's not broken, almost don't fix it. And it seems to be a pretty, as you said, it stood the test of time.
I agree. I feel like we're trying to ram down sustainability in all 3 of these other options, which again is just like one small thing of what we try to do, but it's not, I mean, yeah, we can say it's part of our mission, but it's not like we're not like leading the field in sustainability innovation right now. So I don't see a need to add it. I agree. I don't see what's wrong with number 1.
The other challenge is that if you do anything that is someone could consider not sustainable, you lead to someone saying, hey, why did you spray pesticides on the baseball field. Oh, well, we did it because we don't want weeds. We don't want kids tripping. And they're like, well, that's not sustainable. You know, just, we have to be cautious of things like that too.
Stephanie, Bart?
The thing I like about option 2, I do like that first part. So I wonder if we could just put some of that into option 1.
And what, like, influence health and well-being?
Mm-hmm. I mean, it would make it longer, so I get that, but I do like that addition.
So instead, you were suggesting, just so everybody knows what we're discussing, to positively influence the health and well-being of residents, build community. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. And again, it might be too long, but I think that would be nice.
Any other thoughts?
Yeah, I like, I like, I like all the ideas. At the same time, you want something that is memorable and fairly concise. So I like the option 1. I like the option 1A sustainable practices, but it is in the mission statement. So yeah, I think it gets repetitive to have that. The only point is you're looking at the biggest part of the referendum would relate to sustainable practices. But again, it's covered by the mission statement. But I like all the points. I would stick with option 1.
When I think health, this is just me, maybe I think, is it that we're promoting fitness and recreation as a means to, like, I'd like to think that our mission is to create, I don't know, fun experiences versus like, I don't know, exercising just for your health. I mean, I guess there's a fitness center, so there's that component. Maybe like foster health is a lot smaller, less language, but to positive, I think well-being is kind of, I guess when I think about health, I'd rather it be like holistic. I get a little icky feeling when I think about, I don't know, like weight. That's what like kind of I think
Yeah.
about with our recreation, and I would like it to be more like recreation and fitness versus jamming healthy lifestyles down people's throats.
Yeah, health can mean both physical and mental.
Mhm.
So I like your idea of like, we could do enrich lives, foster health, build community, and create memorable experiences. We could put that foster health, would that feature?
Yeah. Or foster well-being of residents or something like that. I mean, like playing tennis, being outside, like all of those things contribute to well-being. And,
Mhm.
Maybe well-being is better than health because it's like all encompassing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Foster well-being.
Actually, I agree with that. I feel like all that could still fall into like enriching lives, but
It's true. So last I'm hearing is to enrich lives, foster well-being, build community, and create memorable experiences through exceptional parks, programs, and facilities.
Hmm.
Do we have a consensus?
Can you say it one more time?
To enrich lives, foster well-being, build community, and create memorable experiences through exceptional parks, programs, and facilities.
So just foster well-being is the only new
Mhm.
add.
Yep.
I have no objection to that.
none at all.
We have a consensus?
Yeah, that's sounds good.
Look at that.
Okay, so, okay, do we need to?
We will in-
adopt? Okay.
On the bottom, we'll do that.
Okay.
So we can settle a little bit. Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right. John will share a synopsis of the financial report and answer questions next.
All right. Thank you, President Spain. Good evening, everyone. We'll briefly go over department by department here, 2 months into our fiscal year. So no major deviations to really speak to at this point. But nonetheless, we'll cover each department here, starting with the recreation department. So if you look at the revenue year over year, that's about a 10% increase. driven primarily by camp participation that we've discussed. Our camp programs are doing very well along with Kids Club. Children's Circle, we see is operating slightly ahead of where it was last year. Excess revenue of $132,000 over its expenditures. That's a combination of increased revenue of about $15,000 from the prior year. And we also had some reduced contractual and labor costs for our first couple months of the fiscal year. There was a timing issue on the contractual costs as it relates to the in-service training that was done. And we had some turnover in some of our full-time positions that resulted in reduced labor for the first couple months here of our fiscal year. Fitness department is pretty much right on par with prior year. As we look at the beach, obviously looking at pass sales this time of year, and they are down about 27% when compared to the prior year through April. Obviously, we'll pay close attention to that number this month and see where we wind up at the end of May. I did take a peek today just to see where this month's or this year's May compared to last year's May for family passes, resident passes, and it's right where it was last year. So hopefully we get a little surge here in the next 10 days or so, though the weather doesn't look like it's going to do us too many favors.
Any idea what's driving that?
I'm sorry?
Any idea what's driving that?
I know Bobby's going to talk about beach passes a bit more in the.
Yeah, I can
director's
touch,
report.
the weather is highly, dependent on the weather, and we had a huge surge. It went from 65,000 to 105,000 in the space of just over a week with the good weather we had. We'll note that in the board packet, we did have an error, so apologies that there was a mixed up. I would just ignore that table. Really, the numbers were about $23,000 as of May 1st behind. It's all related to the weather. Last year, we started off really slow with the weather, and it ramped up really quickly once we got good weather. So based on feedback from the survey, residents were very happy and said they were going to buy beach passes again. So the weather and then going to the beach is going to be a big driver.
Our non-residents are up from last year, which is interesting too, right?
I think they're
is that slipped?
slightly, yeah, you can just
Okay.
ignore that table. They're slightly down, but Northbrook is slightly up.
Okay,
I think we have finally probably seen a return to pre-COVID era.
Yeah.
I know you take the train with me. The trains are insanely packed now. People are returning to the office. I think the idea of buying beach passes because you're working from home 3, 4, 5 days, you're home 3, 4, 5 days a week, the weekends plus 2 or 3 days. I think there's just diminished demand for it as well. I'd actually love to not see this right now, but see this compared to like 2018 or 2019. Because I think that's the real number that we should
Good
look
idea.
at, because the post-COVID is
Yeah.
is back to pre-COVID.
yeah.
Yeah, just the competition for time, way back to where it was.
The rest of the departments, actually, there's not really too many significant variances to speak to. Parks is nearly identical to where it was in the prior year. Bottom line, the rec and corporate admin departments, property tax revenue, interest income are coming in as scheduled there. And boating is pretty consistent now with where it was in the prior year. G&A has a bit of a variance from the prior year. That's actually, we have an AP adjustment that still needs to be done once we get the auditor's blessing. So that'll catch itself up, more of a timing issue that will catch up for next month. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
I think the only question I have here is not a question, but a comment that this is extremely different than what I think we started predicting about 1.5 years or 2 years ago when we were talking about getting the teachers increases. And we actually were very worried that we were going to go to break even on Children's Circle. It's a happy thing to see it increasing. It just surprises me. And I know you said there's some contractual things, but with that surplus out there, are we thinking about reinvesting in Children's Circle? Are we thinking about reinvesting in training? Like, what do you want to, you've got 30% more, 25% more this year than you did this point last year. And that's not what we expected. So
Yeah, to that point, I would say it's still somewhat early. We're only 2 months in. We have 2 more months this fiscal year that will have 3 pay periods. So that'll help to kind of absorb some of that. Looking at where we're at this year, we're at about $130,000 compared to last year. We were at about 105,000 at this time. We wound up at about 170,000 last year for fiscal 24.
Okay.
So we budgeted around the $100,000 mark for this year. So you're right. It's looking better than budgeted at this point. How significant that is, I'd say we should let that play out a bit more before
Okay.
we make any major decisions on allocating funds.
I mean, it's
And-
nice because we had this, if you remember, you and I went back and forth. Well, actually, I think we were aligned on it, but like we had this discussion about, do we invest in Children's Circle? And it looks like we don't have to worry about that.
Also in our manuals that you probably already saw, we do have substantial, I guess, benefits increases for both part-time and full-time. So we have to see how that plays off too. So pay time off,
All fair.
some floating
Yeah.
holidays that we haven't had before. So we did see that and invested more in those intangibles that our staff was looking for besides just pay.
Okay.
So, and we will continue to see the pay go up. So we plan to do a salary survey again this year to see how competitive we are
Yeah.
in the market too.
It's a good problem to have.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, well, I guess I'll be done with Children's Circle after this year, but next year, but, just not necessarily raising tuition by as much potentially too, because I think it's gone up pretty.
Usually with the, it's like 3 to
5%.
5%, yeah.
Average
yeah.
5% this year, 4% for the year before, I
Mhm.
think 4-ish.
Usually raise it based on the salaries.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
'Cause it's a huge part of every
Mhm.
working family's operating budget. So as a public entity, to the extent that,
We also have to remember that some of that, the money that we have above goes into our fund balances to help keep the infrastructure. There's a lot of infrastructure. So we're able to do, for example, the Century Room this year based on some of those funds, repairs in the playground. So we always invest it back in. So while you see that net, it goes back into the program and the amenities that the
Like
parents
that.
want.
Right. You have IMRF contributions, FICA, Social Security, none of that is paid out of that department. That has its own fund
okay.
that's levied for.
So it's kind of not really accurate when you see that fund balance on that.
I also heard that the enrollment opened up because that's someone who's been begging me for years to get in. So is that any,
Purely based on the person who dropped out or graduated's age. So we've been working on a document to try to improve transparency and more, rather than transparency, education about how the wait list works. And we'll probably include that in the next board report so that you as board members can understand the process. It's basically if you're born within a very specific calendar timeline, you have the ability to get in, and once you're outside of that, you don't have the ability to get in because your whole track from when you join is tracked through all of the grades, through all the classrooms. And if you miss that window, it's very difficult to get in. So we've been working on a document to try to educate people, put it on our website, give it to parents who get on the wait list and try to improve the transparency or understanding around it.
yeah, that'd be helpful for me because I don't think I understand it fully. So when people ask me, like, this person was given a choice of either their baby or their toddler, and they had to choose one.
It's complicated, and I'll include it because we've been working on that document.
Okay.
We're doing something similar for the beach, for around storage and on anything with wait lists.
Yeah, they came out of the efficiency committee. They really wanted to see more transparency on that. So
Okay. If there aren't any further comments, we can move forward with the executive director report. It seems like we've already
we
started.
did some of them. Yeah, exactly. Well, let's talk about the goats in the park.
Mhm.
Holy cow.
I mean,
Hit it out of the,
could, I felt, thank you very much to the folks who came up with this idea because I took all the credit for it. Everyone's like, that was great. I was like, yeah, it was all me. It was all me.
That's
So
okay. You allowed us to do it, right? That's awesome. So it was twofold. I mean, the idea came out of the green team, totally a group effort, and Kyle hunting down the goat lady. So kudos to Kyle for finding the goat lady. But let me tell you, just bringing the goats in, they did clear the park. I don't know if you've been by it since they have left,
Yep.
but just the education component of it, that so many people came out and we were able to teach more about sustainability, how you don't have to use chemicals. The amount of press we had, where I think we're on channel 5, 7, and 9 news, paper cover. I was down in Springfield when this was, for the later half of the week, and the amount of directors that gave me the like evil eye, because their commissioners are like, you have to bring, Glencoe has goats, you have to bring them. So both Bobby and I got a lot of like, I can't believe you came up with that. So it was pretty great. So we would like to continue the program if the board agrees. What we need to do is to actually make this work, as you have to bring them twice a year for 3 years. And then it's eaten down enough that we can replant what we want in there. So we really want to continue it at that park and maybe investigate other parks to do it, maybe Lakefront Bluff if we can, maybe Dietz, probably not Everly Wildflower because has so many, we've been doing burns there and everything like that. But we want to look into other avenues to that. It was extremely popular. Thoughts on that one?
I'd like some explanation because I got a number of questions about it because the goats ate a lot of the greenery, but the, I guess, branches that the leaves grow on still existed. So how does that kill the plant?
Go ahead.
So talk about like buckthorn specifically. So the smaller buckthorn plants, they'll eat down and strip that. And then as it regrows, if we do bring them back in the late summer, early fall, they'll eat that again. And each time they do that, it stresses the plant until the point where it won't regrow. The more mature buckthorn, we will have to go in and manually knock them down. So if it was a goat can reach up 6 feet in the air, if it was a 8-10 foot tall, we'll have to knock that down to the ground. But then as that resprouts and comes up and now it's only a foot or two off the ground, the goats will then eat that, plant a buckthorn, come back the next year, do that again. And that repeated process basically stresses the plant to the point of not coming back.
Did they eat a lot of plants that weren't buckthorn?
They'll eat anything that is not toxic to them. The nice part about Milton is that it had been so overrun with invasives that the ratio of desired plants to the undesired plants was so far in our favor to take this approach that almost give it that hard reset button of clearing it down and then allowing, to Lisa's point, for us to come in a couple of years once it's kind of truly knocked down the buckthorn and honeysuckle and other invasives. Then we can reestablish the way we've done it, Everly and Dietz, through more traditional management practices.
So how is that more efficient than, like, I guess I volunteered with another organization where we came through, right, with clippers or saws and cut it down. Why is the goats better?
So for us to go into that space and do this process with, prevailing wage labor or in-house labor, and then come back and do that again on repeated occurrences. Also, you'd really want to treat it as well if you didn't want to have to come back. So we're talking about is having people come back with manpower labor to come back all those times to keep doing that same idea of stressing the plants and not having them come back, stronger than they would with using pesticides.
So even if volunteers go out there, we have to have staff out there. So it's very labor intensive. So it's expensive that way. Not to mention that our staff, we have work with a very small staff. So to take them off other things in the spring and the fall when they're trying to get the beach ready and stuff, the manpower is just better spent in other areas, and Goat Power was able to clear it in 4 days.
And how expensive were the goats again?
1,800 for the goats for the 5 days.
The fences were 3,500.
Yes, the
So
fences were.
It's not like I saw that
It's not
last week
cheap.
and I was like, oh. Okay.
But we have to
so-
put the fences up.
No, I agree, but
They would provide electric, but kids wouldn't grab it.
Yeah.
I would imagine the all-in cost, and you'd probably get a contract with these
Mhm.
folks, but the all-in cost would probably, is it fair to say it's 6,000 to 7,000 per time?
Yeah, so the goats were 1,800 and the fence was 3,000, so we were 4,800 in for this go round.
Yeah, it's not the most.
It's not, but it's also,
cheapest, but it's also,
I mean, it's interesting because we, this is where that term sustainability
yep.
in your mission statement comes in. And it's like, it is a little bit more expensive to not be sustainable. To me, though, I'm less concerned about the cost of this as someone who's usually more concerned about it. Because to me, this is, $5,000 to $7,000 to get the community together and
Yep.
to teach the community about different things. And to, I saw grandparents walking with their grandkids. We saw like kids going out there, like my kids went out there, other kids went out there just to go. And everyone's talking about, did you see the goats? Did you see the goats? The first time's gonna be big, but I still think the second, the third, the fourth time is to me, it's a dual investment.
I agree. It's a special event that we didn't count on, you know. Yeah, the amount of goodwill and education, and we still have volunteers that are out there every night, throughout the night, so like 9 o'clock, talking to people about what we're doing and sustainability. You really don't have that captured audience any other time.
I mean, I imagine that you could, if you plan this right and the weather is okay, you can have the central school kids and the west school kids walk up there for like a field trip, right?
Mm.
And so
We actually did have field trips from 3 preschools.
oh,
Yeah.
And I did look at the location data from cell phone tracking. We had 862 people that week at the park. And on average in a year, we get 1,500 people at Milton Park.
I mean, to me, it's about the community. It's more about bringing the community together and sustainable than it is about the cost here. But it's not cheap.
And if that's not creating a memorable experience,
Yeah.
which is also in there, then I don't know what is. Cause yeah, when I was there, it was mob and, you know, beside the fact of all the kids trying to put their arms in the fence to like touch the goats. And then the few who tried to climb the fence, I mean, it was just kids in awe that these things were there and sitting there trying to name them. And
Yeah.
I mean, it was entertaining.
They all have names.
So like my kids were there and tried to do that too. But there was nobody on supervising. So there were normally staff there?
There was the gold lady was there till 5, and then we had volunteers there till 9, like walking around the.
Okay,
the
because
perimeter.
there was somebody like ripping off plants from a neighbor's and sticking them through the fence. and
Yeah,
stuff
they
like
they
that.
didn't stop. They were there to stop someone from crawling over.
The first day we had a goat guard sash that was handed out, but it didn't make its way to each successive goat guard. So if we do this again, we'll have to make sure that the sash gets
I didn't-
passed along.
I will say Nate did send, was it Nate that sent out a sign up
Yeah,
email?
yeah.
Which I didn't respond to, but they were asking for us to volunteer as well. too.
Jordan did.
You
Jordan
could, you
was
could be
there.
a goat
I
guard.
never got that.
Oh, we all got it.
Really?
Oh, I don't
I missed
remember
that
that.
one.
I was all in on it.
Jordan was there. Yeah, it was sent out probably
It was
many emails,
like,
but
really
Nate,
many
hopefully.
kudos to the green committee and to Kyle. And it was nice to see Kyle in his shades. He looked a little bit like an X-Men
Your Secret
on
Service.
NBC News.
Oh, I see the email now. I never opened it, but I see it. Okay. I was worried that something would happen, that a goat would get out, that someone would go over and like tip one of them. So I was happy that nothing happened. I do think that this will set us up for not being able to tear down Milton Park. So I do worry about that. Because there's so many kids using that equipment.
But there's maybe something else we can do in that area based on that. Yeah,
As
but it's true.
our former president would say, poor Milton.
I love Milton.
As long as Carol's here, it's not getting torn down.
Yeah, that's just, I guess, my mission for the
That's
next
our mission.
3 years or whatever.
Make a cool park there. We're thinking of ideas, so. So is there agreement that we want to pursue because she's about to get very popular and we want to lock her in?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
She's gonna pop her because of us.
Yeah.
All right. Bobby and I went down to Park State at the Capitol, met with our representatives and our senators, and had dinner with them. As you probably saw, I just sent an email out to all the representatives again about the OSLAD, hoping they won't sweep it. So that's our biggest thing we're really pushing. So thank you. We got a response already. Our 2 reps and our senator are very much in support of the park districts and the OSLAD and not sweeping that. They don't want to sweep the whole thing, but partial, they want to partially sweep it. There's so much competition for this OSLAD grant. We really want to keep that in so that we're able to fund even more playground equipment or projects or whatever. We also gave all of our representatives the beach pass to give out to their constituents. You might have saw in the library and social media. We also gave Glencoe Library a beach pass and surrounding areas like we talked about. We just found out Lakefront advisory committee, people are like, well, no one's gonna buy pass and go to the library. There's only one pass available, and usually probably for the weekend for 5 people. So we're gonna maybe talk to the library about make sure people understand that they just can't go and take the pass whenever they want. There's only one available.
They only get one
Yeah,
per
per library.
per summer. Yeah.
So if anybody asks that, they get one per library per summer and you can only use it once. So it's just like checking out anything else that is at the library in their lending area. I really, what else did I just want to bring up? The beach, Shannon's doing a fantastic job already, which we totally expected. Preparing for the beach that opens this weekend. I don't know if you want to add anything to that?
Our seasonal staff hiring is exceptionally strong this year, which I haven't said in the last 5 or 6 years. So normally last year we had 55 staff. We're at 70 at the beach this year. So Shannon's done a remarkable job recruiting people. I think word spread of how great she is at the ice rink, and a lot of people transferred over and friends. And we had a great attendance at Northbrook Pools. We get to use that as a reciprocal agreement for the Northbrook agreement for their access. We used that for training last weekend. And then we're getting ready for camp season 2 with training, and there's gonna be a lot of training throughout the building in the next couple of weeks, and there's gonna be a lot of people in and out, and getting ready for a great summer. Start summer camp June 10th officially.
So we have our seasonal staff training tomorrow night from 6 to 8. If anybody would like to come and see that, everybody's in the same room, and with a creative training session for that. The pickleball courts are up at Weinberg. I'm getting great use already. I don't know if you want to talk about cicadas at all and our plan
Ooh,
for the influx of them.
I am
At
all
all?
in on the cicadas. I just had a great post on cicadas. Have you guys seen them? Like, are they on every tree?
Yeah,
And you
they're
can
out
watch
front.
them like come out. It
Yeah,
is
it disgusts me.
beautiful.
Imagine that creates a lot of difficulty with facilities.
So I think we're prepared to speak to situation with the cicadas and how it's beneficial. I think the issues or the concerns are gonna be when they kind of overtake our amenities, so playgrounds, racket courts. And so we've kind of talked about being reasonable in our approach to clearing these things. At least I don't know, floating the idea of,
Yeah,
You'll even-
maybe put brooms out there if people want to sweep them off. It won't be realistic, just so you know, it's for the parks team to run out every morning and do every court. Cicadas usually come from a tree trunk and they like to climb up the tree, so we're hoping there won't be tons on the pickleball or tennis courts. It'll be a little crunchy. Same with the playground equipment, so we'll do the best we can, and if it really becomes a problem, we'll put brooms out there and things like that, so people can take care of it if they should like to play.
Do goats eat cicadas?
Yeah, the dogs do too. So if you have any dogs, and they won't hurt anybody. So, but that'll be our approach. So managing expectations, we'll do the best we can.
Have they been bad so far at our facilities, or?
not
Oh.
terrible in our parks and facilities. I know near me, they're starting to get worse. They're coming. It's probably
The
a matter of
front of
week or
Takiff
so.
is the most I've seen.
Yeah.
So I was walking around to try to see
You should come to
the
my
front
house.
by
You'll
Earl's
see.
childhood was where I saw them all.
Everywhere in my house.
They're all over.
Yeah.
Apparently
Yeah.
they have not hit the city yet though. Like the city,
Yeah, they were there.
and my friend's trees in the parks haven't had them yet. So maybe it's just,
Mine either. They didn't come.
I mean, I did hear about them on the playground today, so I'm sure there'll be more in at South School. They were covering the playground so much that they created like a cicada center with magnifying glasses, just in case you're looking for ideas, and had like all this stuff to study and play with the cicadas on the playground. And I got pictures from recess, and the kids have them all over them,
Ugh.
like covering them. So it might be coming to the playgrounds.
Yeah.
They won't hurt you.
They won't
So-
hurt you, but
We did really
I
good
think
posts
I
on the
think
day.
they will be.
And I think once they arrive, I think we'll kind of assess how bad they get and come up with a reasonable, is it clearing maybe once a week? I just think setting the expectation that we can't go to every park, playground,
Every
test
day.
court every single day, clear them and come back in the afternoon, clear them again, just to have to do it again and again. I think we'll just have to see how bad it gets and taking a reasonable approach to clear them.
And I was wondering too, to the extent, that's not gonna like affect camp, right? Like, I just, don't- I like, it seems like they're gonna be pretty bad.
They stay out for 2 to 3 weeks and then they're gone. So there will be, what we have 2 weeks till camp start.
Yeah,
So we
the
might
10th.
get the tail the tail end of it at the beginning of camp, and we'll just, like you said, we'll be creative in our approach to, education and things like that, so. Nature. Employee Appreciation Committee, kudos to our team over there who won the Park Pursuit. Well, the four of them for the third year in a row. And that's like your fifth win though, like you took a break for 1 year.
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. And also the Early Childhood Committee did a great job on Teacher Appreciation Week. There was something every single day to show the appreciation to our early childhood teachers. So kudos to that too. This Monday is a Memorial Day event at 11 o'clock at the Veterans Memorial. We did have a donor redo our plaque there because there was a couple soldiers that weren't on it from which wars?
It was the Vietnam War that was missing then some misspelled names from previous.
Yeah, so this gentleman from Glencoe saw that, I think at last year's presentation, and he thought that wasn't right, so he funded a new plaque to put out there and put on the stone. So it was very nice. So
Yeah.
that will be unveiled there. So both Commissioner Boren and Commissioner Spain will be representing us. Did Sammy call you at all? Reach out to you? Okay. I'll just touch base to make sure that you guys are still on the agenda. Any other questions you have?
I don't know if this is an answerable question, but it seems already really hot. Like, I guess I was thinking about like the number of people at the beach this season. This is supposed to be one of the hottest summers. Like, what's the plan, I guess, for like all the outdoor things this summer if it's really hot? Like, are we expecting, is there going to be potential issue with heat? Like, what do you do when during camps when there's
Yeah, we train staff on obviously recognizing heat emergencies and taking breaks and sunscreen application. But yeah, we have heard that. We're just gonna have to make sure we take a lot of water breaks and rotate through. And when we go to facilities, make sure we put that in the plan.
So they come in to take up for breaks. They take a lot of water breaks,
Yeah.
things like that. The beach, there's past limitations and things like that, but.
We want, if
Yeah,
there's
good.
extreme temperatures, we have changed field trips around. We have canceled beach days. So we are good at that. Obviously, we're limited in some because we paid upfront for them. But we watched that, like last year, we pivoted very quickly when we had all those smoke issues. So staff is watching extended forecasts, are watching for those dangerous days. And we already know we're going to have a couple of things. So we've come up with some alternatives like sailing and aquatics, looking at potentially taking a field trips somewhere else. So looking at those out of the box thinking, but it's definitely on front of mind.
Okay. Well, with that, is there anything else? Otherwise, I think we can move forward with the personnel policy manuals.
Great. I'm gonna turn it over to John in a second, but for the last year, we've been reviewing the full and part-time personnel policy manuals to update it. Some of our language and then some of our policies that we're recommending. In your board packet, we kind of did a summary of changes that impact the manuals. And I don't know if you want to add anything, John?
No, I think you had alluded to the fact it was about a year-long effort between myself, Lisa, and Becky, who's no longer with the district, kind of leading the charge and putting a lot of time and thought into the process and really focusing on employee benefits and what we can do to make sure that we're providing a competitive benefits package to our employees and also updating policies for standard laws and things that have changed since the last time. So it was a pretty significant undertaking. We're really proud of the finished product and excited to get these changes rolled out to our full-time and part-time staff if approved tonight.
And we think it's very, staff, I guess, shows our commitment to our staff and making sure they have the proper benefits and, things like paid leave, adding another holiday leave, a flex holiday for our staff, paid time off for our part-time staff, which we haven't had before, paid maternity leave, for 6 weeks for our full-time staff, compassionate leave for our staff. Those are some of the highlights and examples of what we we added.
I have a question.
Is that a copy of them right there?
I think I saw that for some of the benefits, you have to be here for 90 days. Is that, so for the new law that you have to give
Yeah,
paid
that-
time off for part-time, if that's in the.
That's
law?
aligned with the paid leave ordinance. Unfortunately, with some of the part-time
Yeah, y-
positions, there is a higher rate of turnover. So just administratively, there's some help, I guess, from that perspective to, you know, not really provide the paid leave until the 90-day mark.
Well, I was actually thinking that might be a positive in terms of the summer staff, right? So like, since our like summer staff is generally part-time and 90
Correct. And
qualify for the paid leave.
exactly. And there is the Cook County, obviously we would have, the Cook County's ordinance would apply to us. And I think there's still some decisions to be made as to how the seasonals are going to land. Because there is potential for our seasonals, just given the rigorous training for some of the, obviously, lifeguards, safety sensitive positions, the camp counselors. And we take the training obviously very serious, and we're doing that up front. And so that's technically their hire dates. We onboard these folks as soon as possible to be able to get them their training and make sure they're ready to go day one. So even that 90 days can come into question at some point. So, you know, I think there's still some discussion at the county level as to, you know, what exactly is going to be defined as a seasonal employee. And, but keeping those folks exempt would, I think, help us significantly, both obviously financially and certainly the administrative burden that would come along with having paid leave for our seasonal employees.
So that's something we're still working with other park districts and with the county to see if we can get some relief in the seasonal part. But the part-time, we actually had in our manual, so we're not that concerned about that. We are more concerned about the seasonal and the impact it would have. Any other questions on that?
Okay. Well, I think then we can move forward with number of action items we have for this evening. So timely enough. I entertain a motion to approve the revised full-time and part-time personnel policy manuals as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Bourne,
Yes.
Commissioner Kobe,
Yes.
Commissioner Schneider,
Yes.
Commissioner Spector,
Yes.
President Spain.
Yes. Okay. Motion passes. I entertain a motion to approve the contract to renew food services with Taste for Kids Incorporated as presented and authorize the executive director to sign the contract.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Bourne,
Yes.
Commissioner Kobe,
Yes.
President Schneider, or Commissioner Schneider,
Yes.
Commissioner Spector,
Yes.
President Spain.
Yes.
Just got a promotion there.
Motion passes. I entertain a motion to approval of the lowest responsible bidder. Pizzo, or is it Pizzo or?
Ezo.
Yep.
Pizzo, thank you. And Associates for stewardship services in the amount of $19,099.99 per year. One of a 3-year contract.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Are these guys doing burns as well?
Yes.
Yes.
So is there any benefit of a goat versus a burn in some of these places?
No, because like the wildflower and deets, we already have plantings are coming up that the goats would like, and we're far ahead of that one.
Okay. Thank you.
Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Bourne,
Yes.
Commissioner Kobe,
Yes.
Commissioner Schneider,
Yes.
Commissioner Spector,
Yes.
President Spain.
Yes. Okay, motion passes. I entertain a motion to approve 6 team members and or commissioners to attend NRPA Annual Congress in October 2024 with expenses not to exceed a total of $14,610 as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Bourne,
Yes.
Commissioner Kobe,
Yes.
Commissioner Snyder,
Yes.
Commissioner Spector,
Yes.
President Spain.
Yes.
Can I ask one, if we budgeted for 2 commissioners to attend, so if any commissioners would like to attend, please just let us know, probably within the next month. If not, then we would open up the staff.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I entertain a motion to reject the base bid and alternates 1 and 2 submitted by Obsidian Asphalt Paving for the Watts and Berlin Tennis Court renovation bids.
So moved.
Second.
Can you explain, 1, why we need a motion for this, and 2, what the next steps are?
So I believe in order for us to put it back out to rebid, it has to be formally rejected. Because it was a public bid. We did receive 1 bid. So that we made sure with council that once we get this bid, we can go back out to bid. Next steps, I have followed up with the engineer to confirm the recently bid projects of 6 tennis courts. Their most recent of which was bid in early May, had a bid range on the low end of 590,000, and the high end of $785,000. We're doing 6 tennis courts. So what we feel is that our budget, the engineer's estimates are aligned with what the project costs should be. We believe this to be an instance where we just got 1 bidder who, I don't know if they were just throwing a number at it, but it is not aligned with the engineer's recent projects of comparable size and scope. So we are, assuming the board directs us to do so, if we go out to rebid, we're going to cast a more direct solicitation net to bring in more paving contractors for this second go around. We did get some feedback from some prospective bidders, some minor tweaks into the bid package, but we're hopeful and confident that we should be able to get more bids and more competitive bids. And then the next steps would be if we get good bids back to still approach this project in late summer.
So legally, whenever you go out to bid and you get at least 1 bid and you don't like it, you have to legally reject the bid.
Stephanie, did you have anything else? Okay, anything? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Boren,
Yes.
Commissioner Covey,
Yes.
Commissioner Snyder,
Yes.
Commissioner Spector,
Yes.
President Spain.
Yes, okay, motion passes. I entertain a motion to approve the reviewed Glencoe Park District Mission Statement, which will be,
To enrich lives, foster well-being, build community, and create memorable experiences through exceptional parks, programs, and facilities.
So moved.
Second.
any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Boren,
Yes.
Commissioner Covey,
Yes.
Commissioner Snyder,
Yes.
Commissioner Spector,
Yes.
President Spain.
Yes, motion passes. Is there any other business to discuss today?
There is not.
I just have one question. I'm sorry.
Please.
What's the cost of a paddleboard spot at the beach? Including beach passes. Okay. For how many people? 4. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Somebody posted about it. Someone posted about, well, I know we're used to this, complaining about that they don't have a space and that they've been waiting 4 years. And then another resident posted about the wait is years long and then the expense of paying for a spot is 4 times what I paid for my paddleboard. So I just wanted a perspective of what that is. Yeah.
It'd be really nice if there was a way, and I know we probably can't do this because of liability, but to encourage people to share them. You know, if 2 families could share 1 paddleboard, it'll be nice. And I know people do that on their own, but it would just be with limited space down there. I just wish there was a way to encourage it, but I don't think we can encourage it based on liability and things like that.
The legislature, people selling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't seem bad when you consider what storage is on anything. And it's for the year and they're storing it there when it's off season.
Do you think one of the issues is that people buy the paddleboard without understanding that there's limited space and the cost?
Absolutely. Yes.
Interesting.
The referendum will help with that.
Yep.
If you want to answer that on Facebook, I didn't want to say, well, if you vote for the referendum, but I just.
Yeah, we cannot say that. None of us can.
I can't either.
Nope. All right,
Okay,
other thing is if you didn't get your shirt for our summer shirt, Commissioner Covey is modeling it.
They do
That's our-
shrink a little bit, so just note that going in,
Good.
spin it
Anita's
through a full
great.
cycle of the wash.
You just want to show your muscles.
Yeah, my lack of
this-
muscles.
this might be a little early, but I have one question because the shirt made me think about it. Are we going to be doing the 4th of July parade?
That's a very good question. So we have decided not to have the children walk in it. But if the board would like to be in the parade in another means, either, and your children could be in it too, if we wanted to pull something on the tractor and have a float, we could absolutely do something with like that, but we're not going to have the children march in the parade, which is, I don't think our staff are ready for that yet.
Mhm.
Okay.
So thoughts on doing, would you want us to do a float of some sort or?
It's nice to make the parade a real parade.
Well, the parade is, they'll just, they do that.
I know, but like by having more participants
Yeah.
and fun things. I understand everyone's concerns. I think it's nice for the kids to have some normal experiences. Because the parade's for the kids.
Yeah, yeah. I just don't think our staff is ready at this point to, because they're marching with them and then they feel very responsible for the children that are there if something happens. So if there's a way we can get parents to march with their children, I guess that would be the way to do it. So then our staff wouldn't be taking the like a brunt of that responsibility.
I don't have a problem with saying that, you have to have a one parent for 3 kids out there and they could be responsible if the staff isn't there. I'm a big fan of choice here, that there are some people that just don't feel comfortable and I have to respect that. And there are some people that want to march. So I'll defer to you on the staff. You guys, you know this better, but I don't think a model of, hey, look, if you want to go, you need to go with a parent or at least, and have 3 kids to 1 parent ratio. And in this way, people feel responsible, but
I don't think we could have another parent be responsible for other people's children unless they, I don't think we would put that out there. If they parent want to take, volunteer, take other kids, I don't think I'd put it out there saying, hey, you need volunteers. I would just say, if you want to march with your children in the park district, behind the tractor or whatever we would do, then, we'd be fine putting that out.
yeah, I personally, I think this space better than me. Not an easy,
It's not easy and
Not easy
it's,
discussion. but I
if we're-
absolutely would not force staff to march if
Yeah.
they don't feel I wouldn't force any human being to march in a parade if they don't feel comfortable.
Right.
So
Okay. Well, there's no reason to enter into closed
Nope.
session, so I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion passes. Lisa, please record the time.
It's 7:54.
Okay. Well, we made it before this. So.